Hey, what's up motivators? Taren here. If you're somebody who is just taken up doing triathlon, or maybe you are already doing triathlon and you're possibly struggling with the run and wondering what a good triathlon running technique is, this video is for you, because what I find is that in the triathlon world and in the running world, what coaches and instructors look at is what are the track runners doing, those wispy little things that weigh almost nothing and they're built like pipe cleaners, and they try to apply those running techniques to absolutely everyone in the running world. This barely works for age group runners, let alone triathletes who have to run after a swim and a bike and being nutritionally really beat up at that point. I want to show you some really clear evidence of some of the best triathlon runners in the world that shows just how different the triathlon run needs to be. My name is Taren Gazelle. In my 20s, I was overweight, unfulfilled, and couldn't even run to the end of the block. Over the following years, I found endurance sports, lost 65 pounds, won age groups, raced world championships, broke records, and trained and learned from some of the best athletes and coaches in the world. You too can use endurance sports to change your life and accomplish your fitness goals. You just need a system that's meant for us amateurs who want to be our best while feeling our strongest and healthiest. My company Motive offers that system, and I want to share some of the tips from it today. Thank you for tuning in, motivators. I remember when I first started taking up triathlon and I was doing a lot of the traditional running butt kick drills and the high knee drills to try to open up my hips, and I was really trying to get forward on the ball of my foot, and then I'd go into a running race and none of those drills really helped. My stride was short, I couldn't open up my hips, my body was fatigued, I just literally couldn't run the way that I was running in training, the way that run coaches and books were trying to teach me how to run. And then I found some really clear examples of some of the best triathlon runners in the world running very, very fast, but it was very different than what traditional run coaches were teaching. And then instantly my half marathon times went from, I think, 153 down to 132. My sprint triathlon run times went from around 26 minutes down to around 21 and eventually under 20. My half Ironman times went from 144 down to 134. And it all happened not by trying to run more or trying to run harder or trying to run faster. It was actually done with trying to run in a proper triathlon style. Let's show you what that style is. So right here we have Kristian Blumenfelt. Kristian Blumenfelt on the Pro Triathletes organization website, he is ranked as the second best runner in triathlon right now. This clip is of him doing his final sprint at the Olympics where he won gold. So this is actually some of the fastest running that ever occurs in triathlon. And what we can see is we can see a lot of movement. It looks really, really powerful. But I want you to take note of a couple of things. The first thing that I want you to take note of is that his leg kick and his feet rarely get above this level in his knees. So take a look at that. His legs are fairly close to the ground. His lower legs stay very close to the ground. And then the next thing that I want you to take a look at is what happens with his upper body. His arms are moving a fair bit, but his torso isn't really moving a lot. His torso and his pelvis is very much facing forward. Now let's go to this. This is a similar distance race. This is a 10K running race This is a 10,000 meter, another 10K running race. I want you to see how different that is. First thing that I want you to see is right now, you can see that the leg kick that these athletes have, even though they are running almost a similar time, give or take about 5%, their leg kick and their foot in behind them is almost right up to their butt. You can see that number 8 right here is almost touching his butt, whereas with Kristian Blumenfelt, he was maxing out kind of here. It was much more of a shuffle. Also, we'll go through this in slow motion, but look at the upper body movement side to side, the shoulders going side to side, and the pelvis going side to side. So it's working that system of everything playing off of each other. And we'll go in slow motion. You'll see that there's a ton of upper body movement. You can see it really well with number 8 there, that he's facing almost 45 degrees to the left, and then he takes another stride, faces almost 45 degrees to the right with his shoulders, and there's a lot of pumping that system back and forth. It's not just at the 10,000 meter mark. We can look at Annie Haug, who is also one of the best runners in the world. This is at the marathon distance. And you can see that her upper body, torso, not a lot of movement. Her shoulders are kind of locked in place. We can also see that same indication of her feet being fairly level with her knees and not that huge butt kick. And we can see another clip here of an excellent runner, Sarah Crowley and Lucy Charles, doing a very similar shuffle where their legs aren't getting much past their knees. And you can even see a very heel strikey motion where she's landing on her heel. Lucy Charles Barkley is doing the same thing, landing on their heel. And this concept of not a big butt kick, not a big stride out front, not a lot of shoulder movement, landing on your heel, this is completely against what most of us are taught is efficient. What we are taught is the fastest way to run is more like this. The marathon winner in the Olympics, again, really big butt kick, lots of movement side to side, very dynamic, really pumping those arms. It's a lot more like the 10,000 meter race. We see huge amounts of range of motion. So what's happening is run coaches are trying to teach us all how to run like runners, where even the best triathlete runners in the world aren't running like runners, they're running like triathletes. And you can look at clip after clip after clip where the difference is very, very noticeable. And these are some of the best runners in triathlon that are running 30-minute 10Ks, that are running 250 marathons, and they're running in a different method than the way most run coaches teach them. Now, why is that? It's because they're triathletes, they're not runners. There's a massive difference between running in a running race and running in a triathlon. Running in a running race, you are starting very fresh. Running in a triathlon, you're starting very depleted and very tired with very tight hips from getting off the bike. A running race is very built on speed and being very controlled in the first bunch of the race and then having a big kick at the end, whereas running in a triathlon is about who slows down the least, not who goes the fastest. Running in a running race, you're starting from an optimal level. Running from a triathlon standpoint, you're running from a very difficult, depleted, beat up level, so energy conservation is a very big thing. You need to run efficiently as opposed to running fast. So with all of that said, here's how you do the triathlon running technique. I need to take a minute to thank a sponsor, which is UCAN. Now, UCAN is an excellent blood sugar stable source of carbohydrates. They have what's called super starch, which functions like a carbohydrate, but it doesn't shoot your blood glucose through the roof, causing a crash after. Yes, this is very good for training, but it's also good for day-to-day nutrition. I really like taking the UCAN bars, the UCAN granola as a food source that gives me a good amount of carbohydrates and energy while not shooting my blood glucose through the roof, causing a hunger and energy crash later in the day. And then particularly after a workout, I like the UCAN Energy Plus Plant Protein, which is a good way to, again, get the carbohydrates in, start recovering, but also gives you a really nice source of protein. You can go to ucan.co/Taren, and if you purchase anything after going through that link, you will get a discount that's applied at checkout. Again, that is ucan.co/Taren, and purchase anything to get a 20% discount. Thanks, UCAN. The first thing that we need to do is just throw "I am going to run like a runner" out the window. Physically, we don't really need to do it because it's been shown that being up on your toes and having that big track-like stride and landing on your forefoot isn't actually even as efficient as heel striking at anything lower than a 6-minute pace, and most of us are running slower than a 6-minute pace. Everyone in those videos was running slower than a 6-minute pace. Also, physiologically, a lot of us aren't even capable of running that way because it's been shown that track runners and marathon runners at a very high level, their insertion points of their calf muscles and their lower legs are in different spots than the average population, and the thickness of their lower limbs is actually thinner than the average population. So physically, we can't even really do that running stride effectively. Second thing is, once you realize that you don't have to run like a runner, you don't have to then change your running stride to try to run like Kristian Blumenfelt or any Haug. What will happen is, if your body is running very frequently in a situation that is similar to how it is in a triathlon, your body will kind of figure it out. So what we like to do in our training plans is try to get people running in a very similar scenario to how they're going to run in a race, tired. So we have the long run on Sunday after a very key big bike workout on Saturday. Going to be running a little bit fatigued. We recommend at least 1, if not 2 brick runs per week so that you're getting used to running in that fatigued state. And then of the 4 runs that we think most people should do if they're looking at performing really well in a race, only 1 of them is a very fresh, snappy, get on your toes, kind of work that top end of VO2 max run. 3 of the 4 runs are running fairly tired, and your body is going to figure out how to run with that efficient technique as opposed to the runner's technique. And the third thing that you need to do is just do this frequently. If you do this frequently, running anywhere between about 3 and 4 times a week on average, your body's going to figure it out. At 2 times a week, you're going to be able to certainly do the race, but your body isn't going to adapt nearly as quickly. At 5 times a week, your body is going to adapt much quicker, but then you start worrying about injuries. I find that 3 to 4 times repetition per week, that's a really good sweet spot for getting a nice long run where your body has to run in an efficient way because it's a little bit fatigued, a brick run where you learn how to run off a bike, and a top end run so that you can continue to know how to run fast. So I hope you found that illuminating, helpful, and if you need a triathlon training plan to help you in your race, there is a link in the description below to our triathlon and all endurance race training app where you can train for triathlons, running races, cycling events, duathlons, swim runs, all in the same season. You get unlimited training plans, all for 1 flat monthly fee. You can check it out for free for 14 days, see if you like it, and stick around. It has all of these methods that we use included in it, and the feedback that we get is that it is very good and has replaced most people's one-on-one coaches because it's so all-encompassing and helps people with a lot of their races. Regular people are taking on awesome challenges all around the world. In some cases, that's qualifying for world championships. In other cases, it's just racing their first 5K. And in both cases, our app is helping people take on those challenges and have a really fun time doing it.